I mean, listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice.
Welcome to SkillSharp The Podcast, our off-script career advice. Wanted to take an opportunity. My name is Brian Wright. I work with two great people, Todd Nakasone and Mike Daniels. We were partners in corporate media. We supported various studios and networks for over 20 years. And now we have all broken out into different areas. And specifically, we've dedicated SkillSharp as a platform to help people understand the game of corporate recruiting, the media industry, and how you can build an architecture for your career that allows you to achieve success. So these are going to be very short videos where I may be solo or Todd or Mike may be solo. And we're just going to give you a couple of tidbits that will be helpful for your career search. So I have dealt with a lot of people recently that have been out of work for over 12 months. So if that is you, where you've been dealing with 12 months, 18 months of not finding the right job at your previous level, we need to talk. The other group that I'm highly concerned about is our young adults, people recently graduating school, coming out of high school, people, like working at emerging professional level that are, it's kind of like Social Security. You've been promised this sea of opportunity and working for companies and being able to make a living and then live your life. What has been done is uncertainty, instability, and just disloyalty really has occurred on the company side, and it makes it really difficult for young people and how you've been preparing for the last 12 to 16 years to then say like, hey, where's the opportunity? And the opportunity is not there. So this is where we will be talking about a pivot, and it's really for the seasoned executive and professional as well as the more recent, career entrant. You have to think about being an entrepreneur. So that just the entrepreneur piece, owning your skill set, leveraging your expertise, your passion, and figuring out how to monetize it. So there's 3 steps to this that I'm going to recommend to you right off the bat. So number 1, self-assessment. From a self-analysis standpoint, you have to be able to look at yourself and say, what am I good at? Who am I? What makes me tick? Are there certain things that I do or certain things that I don't like? What is your SWOT analysis? SWOT meaning strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Once you know yourself, and again, it comes in a lot of hip hop songs of talking about knowledge of self. Once you know yourself, you can now start to make better decisions on where you want to go. And think about it. Everyone talks about being authentic. When you are talking to somebody and you know who you are and you know what you want, that conversation about what you want from them is very authentic because it is truly you. You've thought it through and you're not being caught off guard. You're not being caught off script. Number 2, once you know yourself, now it's time to see who else out there has been doing what you love to do, who is at it at a high level operating in your area of interest. It's not about trying to copy or try to follow their path exactly, but what you'll find is there are multiple people that are doing what you would love to do. You understanding their backgrounds and doing an analysis of what makes them strong is actually what gives you the options and opportunities to pursue for yourself. So I'll give you an example. When I was young, we used to, my cousin and I used to play, we call it over the line baseball, where it was just he and I. And we had one tennis ball, which was always a problem. And we would emulate the Dodgers and the Angels. So we knew every batter in the lineup, and we would then emulate each one of them. We would mimic them. We would impersonate them. And so if one had a twitch when they batted, if one always hit home runs, we were going for home runs. We did all of what we knew about them. So what that does, though, through practice and doing this over and over and over again, you start to realize like, wait a minute, I feel more comfortable doing what this player did, or I like this swing for my style more so than others. So you get a chance to learn what you're good at, what fits what you want to accomplish and your style. One of the most critical things. So, your own self-analysis, understanding where you want to go, who out there is doing what you want to do, study all of the paths that they took to get there and figure out what path kind of fits your interests, your main goal. Third and final is we are talking about practice, not a game, not a game. We're talking about practice. This is putting in work to constantly just keep going no matter what. And what you do is through various steps, you're going to realize that. And let me give you an example, like a video game. When you first get a video game, you play it all night long and you're terrible. You constantly lose, but for every step of the way, especially if it's a game that has different levels, what you're doing is you are learning how to get through each level successfully. And each time you lose, you become more efficient because you copy the way that got you to, stage X. And then next thing you know, you're going to try to get there with more efficiency, more power, more lives, whatever it is. And so you could get past stage X to stage Y and stage Z. So think about this for your own practice of a career or a function that you enjoy. The goal is going to be, how can I continue to get better at this every time I do it? Give you a funny example. I was at a family function. I tell the story all the time. And this young kid, I'm in probably in my 30s at this stage, and he's like 12 or 13, and we're playing this video game. It's called Halo, and essentially it's it's a multi-shooter game, but essentially it's just he and I. And so once we both kind of materialize and render, and the game starts, my player died. And I'm like, how did that happen? We just started. And I said, well, run it back. Next thing you know, my player died again. I said, run it back. And I realized that my little cousin was aiming at me from the very beginning, and he was sniping me from, in the game, like hundreds of yards away. So I would never even get a chance to really start, and he was already killing me. And it was hilarious to him. But I guess my point is, we ended up playing that game 47 times. And through those 47, I never got a chance to actually, win. But what it taught me, though, was that there is a certain tenaciousness and there's a certain resilience that you have to show. And the next time I would play the game on my own, I became him. I became that sniper. I became that resilient person that was able to, take out people that were less experienced than me. And that's the hook. So add this to your professional journey. You need to put yourself in a situation where you don't wait on a job. You cannot apply for a job for something that you haven't done yet and expect them to feel like you're qualified. So what you do is you figure out a way of emulating that work. You create your own project. You do volunteer work. You figure out what your church may need, your local organization. You just do it on your own. So your name is Marcus. You create Marcus Incorporated. And Marcus Incorporated is going to do this work process and this project over and over and over again until on your resume, you can now list Marcus Incorporated, and you could talk about your role and what you did and what your knowledge is of that process and some of the outcomes. I was able to achieve this, this, and this. Doesn't need to be tied to revenue, doesn't need to be tied to a certain success, but it's your knowledge of the practice, the practice. So if you put yourself in a position where you know how to practice, you know the best people in the business that have been doing what you want to do, and you know yourself, those three things are the formula to begin your career journey and land the job that you're looking to land. This is going to be the end of this video. We will be back with more. Sorry if it's a little choppy, but I'm so excited and you could see it. And this is just going to be kind of a calm, casual, but off-script conversation about career advice that will help you land that job. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit your notification button, and we will see you soon.